What was interesting after posting the Washington Justice kind of first look hot take on their roster building was how much attention TTuba was getting, and TTuba is their new flex DPS that will be playing for 2020 and 2021, which I think people have kind of not ignored, but are sleeping on, that he will be at least contractually obligated to play for the next 2 seasons. Yeah, he's going to be the new DPS for Justice, and it seemed like people were super interested. So I figured I'd, take some time out, focus directly on him, watch a couple of his more recent games, and report back to you guys. And here are my findings, basically. So for the Justice fans and for people who are interested in the league as a whole, this is kind of where my feelings are on TTuba. He's basically a flex DPS player, formerly of 7, MVP Space, O2 Blast, and Bubble Burster Gaming, who he's most recently played with in Contenders China, and I believe they placed 5th to 8th and made playoffs at the very least. Now, was that an incredible performance on Bubble Burster? No, I don't think so, but that could be excused through a couple of, patch placements and whether or not the team was necessarily adapted on the fly, let's say. Now, one thing that does concern me is that for majority of his career, he's been playing in Korea, whether it be in Apex Challengers, whether that be in Contenders. For the majority of his career, up until basically the end of this year, he's been in Korea. I am kind of questioning. I'm not worried per se, but I am questioning on why exactly he went to China rather than stay in Korea, where, you can really test that is the higher level of competition. That's where you want to test your mettle. That's where a lot of teams are going to be scouting. So why move to China? Why kind of like dwindle your chances there? I do have my suspicions on why that might be, but I digress. He played Brig and Goats, May in May Reaper and May Doomfist comps. But historically has been a fantastic Pharah, and I believe that is his best hero by a long shot. In Bubble Burster, he played a good amount of Doomfist. It wasn't particularly incredible. I don't think it was particularly good. And then that's saying something against Contenders' talent. I do have to worry, and this is a constant thread for me with TTuba, if it's not really looking promising in Contenders with certain heroes, how is it going to look in Overwatch League when you're playing against some of the best teams in the world and the best players in the world? I do have some questions there. I think his May's fairly weak, and in general, I think his Pharah and his Hanzo and probably his Genji are his 3 best heroes, which do have some overlap with Stratus, but I do think they complement each other at least fairly well. And I think the 3 of them will provide a solid DPS kind of core for Justice to build around. I would like to see them add maybe somebody who can play flex and hit scan to a fairly high level, if anything. Maybe another specialist flex that can kind of cover the bases just in case TTuba and or Stratus don't necessarily fit the bill. I think this is going to be a big starting point for a lot of these teams in terms of building for the future. This is going to really be the first time that travel is really going to be impacting their players and their practice. So I think that the choices made now really will shape how the franchise moves forward. And I do have my concerns about Stratus and TTuba. I think TTuba, if anything, is a little bit more reliable, let's say. I do have questions around Corey. Not Corey, about Stratus. We saw Stratus do very well in Stage 4. Corey had a fantastic performance in Stage 4, and I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Now, Stratus, on the other hand, I do want to see a little bit more of. I don't want to necessarily judge just yet. But I do think he and TTuba probably will be splitting time depending on the patch. And if worse comes to worse and TTuba is able to play Pharah, I don't think we'll see very much Stratus at all. Now, on the flip side, if May comes out and is still meta come February, I don't think we'll see TTuba much at all. I think the 2 will be splitting a lot of playtime, and I think it'll be very, very patch dependent. But there again, I'm still kind of concerned with the future. I think that they have their bases covered for the most part, but their Justice is going to have to constantly change gears, maybe even map dependent, which I'm not super fond of. Let's put it that way. I think that teams that have to constantly rotate in and out players have to prepare for that very, very well. And I think that's going to be that preparation, that practice when it comes to playing with a ton of different players. Now, again, I that's completely hyperbolic, but when you have to practice for that and each individual player changes the team dynamic, on top of the stressors of traveling and, dealing with visas and trying to figure out how to practice, reviewing stuff on planes, whatever, teams decide to come up with, I think you're going to see less and less substitutions this season, especially at the beginning. Now, towards the end, I think you could see a little bit more, but I think teams that are relying on constant substitutions are going to have a lower grade, at least in my opinion, just kind of generally. But yeah, I think this is if I had to grade it, I think this is like a 6.5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 kind of signing. Nothing that I'm super excited about just yet. It's fine. It's it's a person who has a very narrow hero pool that can rise to the potential if given the right ecosystem, if given the right patch. I think Tuba will do very, very well, but it's going to be in very specific circumstances. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding, maybe gives you a little bit more insight, and helps you form your opinion on the newest Justice DPS. So take a look at some of the other videos that I've got coming out. This is filmed before BlizzCon, and if you're going to BlizzCon, please say hi. I will be there trying to work as best I can. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for all the continued support. And yeah, check out some of these other videos, and I'll see you next Tuesday for Tactical Crotch, and I'll see you on Twitter at Volamel. All that good stuff, and take care.